Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the call for tonight. If you can hear me, if you please put the letter Y in the question box, then I'll know you can hear me. Okay, hey, Robert. Okay, thanks, Bill. Thanks, everybody. And this is our Extreme Business Makeover call, our weekly training. Tonight's session is open to the public. So we will carry on that way. I only have one update for Ultimate Insiders, and that is your next course is going to be Warrior Plus. I plan on having that ready for you by the 30th. If you are Ultimate Insider. Of course, if you are not Ultimate Insider, you will still be able to purchase the course. It's going to, the early bird pricing will be, I think, on Friday through the weekend. So if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. Any questions before we get started? Any questions? Anything that we've covered in the past? If not, then we'll just jump right into the training. Okay, so just as I like to do this at the beginning of every session, just as a matter of logistics, about these weekly trainings, this content is going to be available for you if you're an Ultimate Insider to use as your own workshop, or you can use it as part of your products. And basically what you'll do is you can take the PowerPoint that we're giving you from any week that we teach, you can change it to fit your audience or your expertise, and then redo the outline. Right? You can use the machine transcription, which I provide to you every week. I will post this content tomorrow in the member area, and then as well as the community. And remember now, if you're an Ultimate Insider and you are an Ultimate Insider here at the end, I will give you all of the videos edited for PLR along with graphics and membership pages. So you'll get this entire thing, whether it's 40 or 50 weeks or whatever it is, and you'll be able to use it as your own PLR product videos included. You can either use this as PLR, or you can just follow along and brand your own business if you take the steps with it. Right? And then make sure to participate in the community to hold yourself accountable. And okay, so Robert has a question. He's asking if we could revisit bumpers and customization. Yeah, I think I covered this. I may have covered this, Robert, in a weekend Q&A. And basically, what I would suggest that you do is, rather than doing bumpers, what I really would do is I would do a either a live training or just one training session to cover everything, where you are then going to, instead of trying to redo one video, redo 20 videos or even add on to 20 videos, what I would do is I would just do a session where you go over all of the high points and all of what you would add to the video, and then give the customer an idea that they're going to hear from a narrator that's going to be your training partner, right? So I've changed my stance and my perspective about that, on doing a video on a bumper on all the videos. I would do one training session, one live training session that would cover the entire set of videos. And that's going to be a lot easier than trying to actually do bumpers on all the videos. Does that make sense, Robert? Yeah, yeah, the thumbnail's fine. I mean, that's easy to do if you add a thumbnail, but I would not record bumpers for all the videos anymore. And and actually I am in the process of, changing all of that in my training. But yeah, so right, one training session post sale that covers all the videos. That's what I would do. And in fact, a lot of people are already doing that. Right? Okay, any other questions? Okay, so let's go forward. I like to do this. So what's the insider success path? Basically, what we covered in session 0, you are positioning yourself as an educator. You do that by doing a weekly workshop and teaching on a regular basis to your sub niche. building a product snowball, so you have one product to offer at every snowball. I mean, at every weekly training, right? You should be offering something new. You working from strategic marketing framework, same thing I taught in strategic marketing playbook. You're creating a content factory, right? So you're talking uniquely inside of your emails and all your communication. And then you were building a network of affiliates and partners, and you're doing that from your customers. So it's definitely valuable to build your network of people that are already in the space, right? So if you're recruiting affiliates and you're getting people to promote you, that's great. What you can also do is, and you should be doing, is you should be raising up your own network. So as people become your customers, you should be giving them training, whether it's free or paid, so that they can be your best referrers, so they can be your best affiliates, so that as they become successful, they can even be your partners. um, we talked about being a media mogul and mastering one media, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or whatever it is, mastering one. And then last week we talked about getting into production mode. And this week we're going to be talking about building out your learning center. And next week we'll talk about creating an online community. And then we're talking about raising and building that affiliate army that I just mentioned. We start talking about building a massive network. And we'll get into that specifically when it comes to creating your own training to build out your affiliate army. That's the success path, and that's really how you're going to build a brand from scratch. And again, you don't really have to, if you didn't follow all the individual trainings, right, for the next, I don't know, 40 or 50 weeks, if you just did your version of this, you would be building out a brand that's based on what you sell. And that's really the goal here, is for you to build a brand based on what you sell as opposed to what you say. If you build a brand based on what you're able to sell, you will build a brand exactly the way I'm outlining it here. If you can build a brand on what you say, it's just going to take longer, and you're still going to run into whether or not the customer believes what you say about yourself, which really at the end of the day doesn't matter. What matters is what they buy. Okay, so that is the insider success path. Last week, we talked about getting into production mode and starting producing sales interactions. This week, we are talking about building out a learning center. So why build a learning center? Why do that? And this is going to be old hat for many of you, but I do want to go through this at least very briefly and quickly. And it's a good reminder that this is something that you should be doing and you should be putting into your marketing funnel. This is really going to be your signature offer until you have one, I'd say, what I call a signature offer based on social proof. So in other words, you will eventually develop an offer based on the results you're getting people, and that might be your 6 to 7 to 8, 997 offer. When you have that offer, then your learning center won't necessarily be your top offer. But before you do anything, if you don't really have a top tier offer, this learning center could be your first. And this is also going to come before you develop a coaching method. So before you start coaching and you start coaching at high ticket, develop a learning center, because this is going to be your first offer that you're going to put in your funnel that's going to be at the $300 level, which is technically going to be high ticket, right? It's probably on the low end of high ticket, but it should be right in there. And it's going to be your continuity offer. So if you don't have a membership or continuity offer, that's one reason to build a learning center. And you need to consider what that signature offer is going to be, right? And as I said, that we're talking about something that's going to be no less than $300, and then dividing by 12 to get your monthly pricing. So your signature offer is going to be about $27, $28, $29 if you're talking about a $300 worth of value. And you divide that by 12. That's easy to deliver, and you should be doing that. You need to set that up at the very beginning. You can go lower than $300 or less than $25 a month. You can do that. Although you're going to need a lot of members to justify a cost less than, that $27, $28, $29 level. You're going to need a lot of members. And so I suggest that, even if what you're doing is you're going to do some introductory pricing, let's say you start, maybe you started out below that level in order to get people in. but eventually you need to settle your first level that you're going to settle at should be the $300 divided by 12 level for whatever your continuity offer is going to be, especially it's going to be your learning center. And you put this at the end of your funnel and you do it until you have the larger offer. It's really simple to understand. You are giving people a place to come and get all of your content. That is what a learning center is. It works best with video because people understand the value of video. You can use video PLR to do that. And you can show people that they can either get the course or they can get all your courses if they get your video learning center. Very easy to put together, very easy to understand. And it's easy for you to communicate value. Excuse me. And what I'm going to say is that even if you develop your high ticket coaching offer, keep the learning center in your funnel, because what it does is it smooths out your income. And even when you don't have clients and clients are not buying or people are not understanding your coaching offer, if you can provide and you can communicate the value in a learning center, you are going to have monthly income coming from people who again recognize the value that you are providing. And again, you need to keep this in funnel. You need to keep this in your funnel until you develop the value to launch larger ticket items. Right? Okay. Any questions about why a learning center? What is a learning center? Right? I wanted to talk about why before we talked about what. And this is basically a membership. And you have subscribers that are going to be paying monthly for the content you are giving them. And you are continuously adding new content to provide to them. That's what you are doing. And so you want to, on a regular basis, make sure that at the very top of your learning center, you are adding things of value. And this is very easy to do if you are a PLR user, or if you are a PLR buyer, if you are a PLR inventory buyer, you should be putting that PLR at the very top. Now, that's not the only thing you should be adding to your learning center, but definitely every time you get something new, while it's new, you should be talking that up that, hey, you can either get this course that I have, or you can get it all inside of my learning center. Continuously adding new and providing this new value. Inside of the people, with the people inside your learning center, you should be continuously training them. So we talked about doing a free weekly workshop. I honestly believe that you should be training the people that are coming into your membership on a regular basis. Doesn't have to be weekly. It needs to be a minimum of monthly. Now, you can go weekly if you want to, but at minimum, anybody that becomes part of your monthly membership, you should be training them and giving them, I guess, the why and the how to and how they can make the most of what it is you're giving to them in that membership. So that's what a learning center is. Not only is it the stuff you're putting in there, but it's also going to be the training you're giving. And again, now I'm not saying that you can't charge more than $300. I mean, if you kind of feel like, well, if I'm going to do live training, I want to charge more than $300, then you should be, right? If your monthly turns out to be $47, $67, $77 because of the monthly training that you're doing, I think that's great. All I'm saying with the $300 divided by 12 is that is a minimum. I'm not saying that that's what you have to charge. I'm saying that's the minimum that you can charge. So please don't go in, and I understand why people do it, why they will start a membership and they will start that membership at, $10 or $9.97. I understand why you do that, but in the long run, you need a lot of members. And so if you're going to start out, you want to start out, again, the benchmark, I guess the place where you want to start drawing comparison is going to be $300, right? Okay, yeah, and Robert is saying that a learning center is a good signature for the people who don't take your. It's a good downsell for the people who don't take your signature offer. Yeah, in fact, if I were going to do the upsell and your top tier was, let's say it's going to be coaching, you want to add in that coaching with it. And so and then what you can say then is that, hey, if you don't want the one-on-one coaching, we've still got the Learning Center for you. It's going to be $27 a month, and you can, let's say, do something like $297 a year, if you want to. Right now, and I do want to talk about this. You can do one-time pricing. I'm going to say that you want to avoid doing that. So at minimum, you should, if you want to do an annual pricing, I think that's fine. Now, the thing about an annual pricing is going to be this. Typically, when it comes upon renewal, people feel differently about a renewal that's going to come up at the end of the year, and it's going to be at that $300 level. Again, there's something psychological about that $300 pricing. You're going to run into resistance, right? So what I'm going to say is that, if you can avoid the one-time pricing, if you can also do it, definitely, I know people do it. I know people do a lifetime offer. I'm going to suggest you avoid doing that, right? And that's just because people's psychology is different upon the renewal. And if you do a one-time pricing, you do not have the right incentives in place to continue to increase the value, right? Because you already got the money. And and I will tell you, and I've only done a membership once with one-time pricing, and it sets off all of the wrong signals in your brain when it comes time to add value to the membership on a continual basis at, let's say, month 27, right? You're 2 years in, and you're thinking, okay, I've already got all the money, and what you've got to then do is you've got to then hunt for new buyers, as opposed to trying to provide value to the people that are paying you monthly. So again, your pricing is your pricing. You know your market better than I do. You know your niche better than I do. I'm going to say, in general, if you're working with a business audience who wants to learn how to do more with their business, you will have the right incentives in place to increase their value on a regular basis if you charge them monthly, as opposed to giving them a one-time price. Now, a learning center in general is consistent with positioning yourself as an educator, right, in your sub niche. So you are positioning yourself as a resource, as the key resource, as a key resource, and a learning center is just a way of making it formal. And so it's consistent with everything else you're doing. It's consistent with your weekly workshop. You are positioning yourself as somebody who can provide timely information and helping people to get to the next level, whatever it is in their sub niche, right? But if in order for them to get more of what you're doing in your free sessions, they've got to get your learning center. What platform should you use, right? And this comes up a lot. You should use a platform if it allows you to bundle your courses. So that's going to be one thing. Now, again, you can use whatever platform you want to use. I used to recommend specific platforms. I don't do that anymore. Everyone's going to be different in terms of where they are, in terms of what kind of hosting they want to do. But I do think that you need to be able to bundle your courses. You need to be able to use the platform to sell a subscription. So however you do it, if you're going to use WordPress and a membership platform, if you're going to use something like Teachable, if you're going to use a combination of a shopping cart, and you're going to use something like Coach Zippy, it doesn't matter. You've just got to be able to sell a subscription. You've got to be able to lock people out of courses if the monthly subscription stops. Now, in some cases, if your platform is slightly manual, you're going to have to watch that process, and you're going to have to get notified when a person stops paying their subscription so that you can go in and take them out of your membership. That's possible. And when I first started doing membership sites, this was back in 2011, that's the way I ran it. And so when someone ended their subscription, I'd have to go in manually and then disable that part of the subscription. So it's not impossible to do, but if possible, you want to be able to automate the process. So you want to have a platform that interacts with your shopping cart and your membership. I'm going to say that if your platform integrates with Zapier or Integrately, you're in good shape. These days, all the other cloud-based services that you already operate and you want to connect to your learning center, they're going to be connected to Zapier integrately. In some cases, they're not, but most of them, past, present, and future, ones that you'll get in the future, are going to integrate with Zapier. So if you're going to go through and get a Learning Center platform, you need to be able to connect to Zapier integrately at some point. Now, if your platform doesn't connect to these two, at the very least, make sure your shopping cart does connect to Zapier and integrately. Now, the other thing that the platform has to be is easy for you to work with. So it doesn't matter if everybody else finds it super helpful and everybody else finds it with all the bells and whistles and they love it. If you don't find it easy to work with, you will not use it. So I don't really care how cool it is. I don't care how cool the creator, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you find it easy to work with. And so if you've got to pay more to get a platform that you find easy to work with, and I'm not saying that one platform is better than the other one. You know your business, but you've got to find the platform easy to work with. And if you don't pay for it, typically you're not going to get it. If you go and get the cheapest thing out there because it's cheap, or you get something because somebody launched it to you, typically it may or may not be easy for you to work with. It's got to be easy for your customer to navigate. And that kind of goes without saying. And it allows for you to automate every handoff. And I just talked about that a little bit. Anytime a customer has to go from one place to the other, you want that process to be automated. And as long as that process is automated, then you've got a good platform or a good combination of platforms. So the other thing I'm going to say this, and I'm almost going to contradict myself here. While it should be easy for you to work with, you've got to be willing to purchase and get as much complexity as you can. So as much complexity technically as you can handle, right? As complex as you can handle it, you need to buy it and you need to use it. Because you're going to have to do a lot with this membership, and you're going to have to do a lot with this learning center, and it needs to evolve. So in other words, you don't want to have to go back and redo it a second or third time when things start to change. You want to get something that, even though it's complex, as long as you can handle that complexity, get it and use it, and make sure it's going to evolve with you, going into the future. So how do you communicate the value? And this is sort of what I want to talk about today. You need to make sure that the people who are paying your monthly understand the value. And you do that by, in some cases, by communicating in your broadcast, your daily broadcast, what they're doing. I mean, we do a daily newsletter, but, right, the way to really do this the right way is to create an indoctrination sequence, right? Yeah, that's really the right way to do this. And it needs to be put inside your autoresponder. And you're going to make sure that your members, when they're new to your membership, that they get access to this indoctrination email series, and that it triggers them to get these emails when they're new until it's over. So if your indoctrination series is 10 emails long and it goes for 10 days, you need to make sure that every new buyer, right, every new membership, every new person into your membership gets this indoctrination series. That is how you are going to communicate value in the best possible way. Now, I'll tell you, you need to do this so that you've spelled out all the value they're getting. You need to try to get them to consume the value. So in other words, when someone becomes part of your membership, you've got to try to get them into it, right? To get them to consume something. And you can do this with broadcasting, but I will tell you it's easier to do if you put it inside of a sequence in your autoresponder. Does everybody understand what I mean when I say an indoctrination sequence in your autoresponder? If you understand what I mean when I say that, please put the number 1 in the question box. If you understand what I mean when I say that. If you don't understand it, please put the number 2 in your question box. Okay, so what you're doing is not only with your prospects, as soon as someone becomes a member of your learning center, you need to make sure that this person gets each and every email spelling out the value. And what the folks that I think digital marketers say is you want to bounce them around. What you're really trying to do is you're trying to bounce them into the member area to consume what it is that they have purchased, whatever it is. That is how you communicate value. And you need to do it within the first 10 days if you can. And you do that with automation. Now, again, will you do that with broadcast emails? You can, but it's always going to be out of order. Nothing's going to work better than the first contact being that they are going to be clicking on the links that will get them value from your membership. Here's how you're going to set up your indoctrination series. And I'm not going to get into the technical aspects, but I do want to talk you through this. Once you have secured your subscriber, you need to let them know first how to get in touch with you in one email. So that can be your welcome email. That can be the email after your welcome email, but you've got to let sure that people know exactly how they can get in touch with you and do it early. You've also got to let them know how to find everything that you promised them. Again, that can be your welcome email. Then, right in the indoctrination series, on a daily basis, make sure that the sequence tells them about one specific major aspect of what they already have. So if your membership, your learning center includes 5 different parts, even if what you've got to do for each one of those parts is you create a video and put it inside of that automated email and make sure that the customer clicks on a link and goes to each and one of those things, right? That's very important. And if you can do it. Now, and of course, what's your goal when you do that? Your goal, you know what you're doing? Instead of, and think about this in terms of, how you go about trying to sell an affiliate product. What you're trying to sell in this automated email is you're trying to sell them on going to get what they purchased. It might sound weird, but it's something that you have to do. Once again, it's something that you can do with a broadcast email, but it's hard to do. It's never going to be as easy as doing it with an automated email. And now what Ryan Dice and the folks at Digital Marketers say is that it should last 5 to 7 days. I think that if you're doing an MMO market, you can do it longer, right? And in fact, I mean, you can probably do one that's going to go about 14 days candidly, right? But the benchmark that they're saying is 5 to 7 days. I'm going to say that if your market is MMO, right, you can do 14 days. Right. So use 5 to 7 days as a benchmark, but think about what your market or niche really requires, and then do that. Right. All of this, you don't need a lesson on. You got to figure out how to do this in your autoresponder. I can tell you how to do it in Aweber, but if you don't use Aweber, that's not going to be helpful. I think that you can do the same thing in MailChimp and GetResponse. But again, not everybody has those. You can do this in any autoresponder that has automation. If you don't have automation, get one, right? So typically you can start these at $10 a month, and it's just going to be helpful if you're going to have a membership where people get an automated email, right? And I'm not downing the autoresponders that, let's say, they work from your server, right? And maybe you get higher deliverability. I think those are wonderful. You still need to have something where people are going to get that automated series, even if all you do is you use the autoresponder at, I don't know, $20 a month in Aweber, and all you're going to do is you're going to run your indoctrination series. Right now, the thing is that if you don't do it within your autoresponder, you're not going to be able to exclude them. We're going to be talking about that here in a minute. You got to make sure you get their best email when you do this. And so typically what's going to happen inside of your shopping cart is this. You're going to make sure that when a person makes a purchase, they automatically get placed inside of your list, right? And that puts them inside of your autoresponder. This may or may not be through the email that the customer uses. And you should make sure to communicate with them on the thank you page in order to double opt into your list. So in other words, let's say that the person bought, but they used the email invoice.yourdomain.com. Obviously, the only reason they use that email is so that they can use it for their PayPal account. So they're not going to give that. So basically, what you've done is you've got their less than best email. You're going to have to try to put on your belt and suspenders so that you get their best email. You can do this, or you can help yourself doing this on your thank you page. Give them an incentive of some kind or a premium of some kind if they double opt in. So you want to make sure they go to the opt-in box, put in their name and email address, and then that they go to confirm if you can get it. And I'm going to say that even if you got their email address, when even if you got the right one, when the shopping cart put them into the right email or autoresponder, you still try to get the double opt-in. Still try to get it. Just get it on the thank you page. Now again, if you get it and you got it, through the purchase process, and you don't get the double opt-in, that's fine. But if you can get that double opt-in, try to get it. Now, in at least one email in the sequence, encourage people to write back to you, right? Ask the person, and what I like to do is, what you should be doing is you want to use the verbiage hit reply and write back, right? Or something like that. Make sure that the language is specific so that people know, hey, I want you to respond to this email. Do one thing in one of those emails, or quite frankly, you can do it through all your emails. Now, I mean, unless you're getting 10,000 people at every time somebody buys your membership, you can afford to allow people to write you back. And so that's what you really want to do, is you want to encourage people to tell them a little bit about yourself, tell them a little bit about them. Whatever it is, give them a reason to write back to you. And again, I mean, I think that this really helps your deliverability more than anything else, right? What this does is it tells the filters and the email service providers that you have a real conversation going on with your customers. And I'm told that what that does is that increases deliverability. Now, again, I can't verify that. I can't give you science on that. Nobody from Google told me that. So just so you'll know, I mean, I didn't hear this from, Matt Cutts or anybody from Google, but in general, it will help you. Right now, you do need to have your support system integrated into all this. So when somebody writes you back, you want to make sure that email actually goes to your support so that you'll see it. What can happen is, if the person writes you back and it's not emails you check all the time, you might miss their response. That is the last thing you want to do. You encourage me to write you back. I wrote you back. You don't write me back for 3 days. That's not cool. And it can easily happen if you set up an email that you don't answer. One of the best ways around that, and really you should be doing this anyway, your response email to your autoresponder should go to your support. Because when somebody decides, whatever it is, right? When people when people want to know something, they're going to hit reply and they're going to write back and they're going to reply to the email. You want them to get your email in your support, right? So you can answer them there. Right, so make sure that the email reply is directed to your support. All you've got to do is go inside of cPanel and use email forwarding, right, and send people to your support email. Does everybody know how to do that? Right, so if you understand what I mean when I say that, setting up your email, your forwarding address to be your support email, please put the number 2 in the question box if you understand that. All right, very good. Okay, so really the last thing I really just want to emphasize here is, and this is really important, that if you're going to run this sequence, you got to make sure that they're going to be excluded from any email you're broadcasting. That's really important. So please do not send a broadcast email where you're doing promotions, where you're talking about what's going on now, if you can. And most autoresponders will allow you to do this. Remove that person who's in the indoctrination sequence from your daily emails. It is important, because if you don't do that, you might as well not do the indoctrination sequence. Now, I'm not saying that you can't send more than one email. You can, but you still got to take them out of your daily emails. Now you can do that inside of Aweber. It's not easy to do, right? So part of that's going to be how you set the whole thing up. But in most cases, you're going to do this with a series of tagging. And more than likely what I'll do is I will do a session where I will show you how to do this inside of Aweber and get response, right? I'll try to do it that way. And you'll then be able to see how, how to do it with those emails. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Okay, so if you're visiting us, then this has been an open session, and what we're going to be doing is I guess we'll go ahead and we'll put make the replay public. And since we did this public, now we do this on a weekly basis. This has been session 8, and we've done 7 sessions. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cycling back through the list that you've seen. And so, in other words, let me just kind of show you here. Let's see, where are we at here? If I were to show you this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to cycle back through each one of these elements until the brand is built, right? And that's what we're doing. So by the time that we have gone through 2 more weeks, we're going to come back to position yourself as an educator, and I'm going to cover a different side of that and a different thing to do, right? And in another, 8 to 10 weeks, we're going to be back at building a learning center, and we're going to be covering a different aspect of that. So this is probably going to go about 40 and 50 weeks total. If you follow this, then you will then be able then to build out your own brand. In addition to it, if you're an Ultimate Insider, what's going to happen is that this video series is going to be edited for PLR, and it's going to be yours to use as PLR, right? So that's pretty much what we are doing. Yeah, so Jim, I'm going to send out the replay publicly, and then I'm also going to put it in the member area. So it'll be in 2 places. Rich is, can you include active campaign? Possibly, right? Possibly. I'm not sure if I have, it's because I do tutorials, Rich, I have all of the autoresponders I'm paying subscription for, but I don't know if I still have that one or not. It may have canceled because I don't use it. The only reason I have it was because of the tutorials, but if I have it, I'll do that one. Dave, yeah, I'll put the replay in the members area, but because this is a public session, I'm going to send it out to everybody. So you can get it either way. If you're on the insider newsletter, you'll see it. You'll probably see it later on tonight. And I'll probably post it to my YouTube channel, and you'll see it either way. So you can have it either way. Now, if you're going to download it in order to use, right, with the with the transcript, that will be in the member area, right? So if you wanna use it, then that's where that'll be. If you just want to watch it, I'll send that out to the entire community as well as the Ultimate Insider. So you'll get it that way. Okay, so Ricky's saying, I'm just learning about tagging in Aweber. If you have some helpful hints, that'll be great. Yeah, so when it comes to tagging in Aweber, and I think one of our insider members, Jim Landers, I think he covered tagging too. Here's what I'm going to say about tagging. What you have to understand, and here's what Aweber's intent is about this. And Aweber really believes that what you should be doing is using one list, many tags. So in other words, right, everything that a customer does, or every experience that the customer has, or every behavior that a customer exhibits, you want to tag that customer, right? And Aweber gives you the ability to do that. And so when you have to either trigger an email based on their action, you want to use a tag. So that is really the key to understanding what they are trying to do. And really, it's really the key to any autoresponder these days. If you want to trigger some kind of automation, wow, you can use multiple lists, but the desired effect and what their desire is and the way it's designed is the system is designed for you to use one email address, many tags for various purposes, right? So yeah, Rick, I will probably I will cover that to some degree, and probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see what what Jim maybe did, and maybe I'll see if there's if I can do something without overlap, and then I will do tagging, and then try to do this by covering it in a way so that you understand how to use one list, because that is really the way Aweber has designed the system. I've talked to their support people, for a long time, um, recently, and that's really the way they want you to do it, is to have one list, right? So does that make sense, um, Ricky? Does that make sense? Okay, so North says, will you do the tagging training sessions on autoresponders? Yes, I will do that with specific autoresponders, North. For Ultimate Insiders, I will definitely be doing that, right? So I'm not sure what where we'll put it. Um, maybe it'll be maybe I'll do a Friday session for Ultimate Insiders, and because it needs to be connected to this session 8, but it can be used for any other session. So I will definitely be covering that, North, and I will do that for insiders. I will do that. Okay, so Michelle's asking, can you use the trainings for PLR? Yes. So Michelle, you can use the sessions um, that I'm doing as an Ultimate Insider. The rights are so that you don't sell it as PLR and that you don't use the video. So you can use the PowerPoint, you can use the machine transcription, what I'll give you. Typically what I do is I will allow the video to be downloaded, but when you do that, I think I pretty much have a right certificate in there, and it'll say that you can use just about anything but the video, and as long as you don't sell PLR rights to it, then you can use it. So that's for Ultimate Insiders to use. So this training, yeah. Now eventually, the video is going to be part of the PLR course that I'm going to be giving Ultimate Insiders who are with me at the end, right? So this session 8, however long it goes, I think it's going to go 50 sessions, but it might not. Um, however long it goes, the videos themselves will eventually be PLR, and you'll be able to sell them. I'll edit them for PLR, and you'll be able to use them also, right? So I guess the long answer to your question, the long answer to your question, Michelle, is yes, with some caveats. Okay, so Dave, so the videos for the training sessions um, are inside of the month. So there's a playlist for June and there's a playlist for July. If you would do me a favor, Dave, I'm going to give you an email address, and I'll give you the exact way to find it. You can do that at support at the PLR show.com. And so if you write me there, I'll get you there. All right. Okay. Let me see. I got a message here from Jim Landers. Okay, yeah, no worries, Jim. No worries. Okay, so Michelle's question is, can I use the PowerPoint for my live trainings? Yes. Yes, you can. Right, you can and you should. So yeah, absolutely. But just to clarify, you know, that's for Ultimate Insiders. We're doing a public session. This is a public session. It's open to everybody this week. So that, you know, that is an insider perk that you can use this training in your own training session. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, so let's see, Dave. Yeah, okay, yeah, Michelle. Just if you can write me in support. I'm not sure what could be happening with with Coach Zippy. I haven't talked to them recently, so um okay, so Jim's asking what should you call your PLR rights? Okay, you know, Jim, I'll address that offline. So write me in support if you would, sir, and I'll try to think through it. And I don't want to answer it off the cuff, right? So I want to think about what you're trying to do. And so Dave, yeah, yeah, I'm happy to give you access. Just write me in support. When you write for everything else, you can send one email for everything. I'll take care of you. Yeah, Jim. You can use support. It's the same thing. So, Jim, if you send an email to support at the plrshow.com or you use my Zendesk, it's all the same place, right? It's all the same place. Yeah. Okay. This is a good question, Michelle. um, Personally, right now, I have separate lists. Here's the problem, right? As of right at this moment, now I started with Aweber in 2011. I now have 295 different lists. Okay. And so even though you can do that and it's perfectly okay to do that, and there's nothing against doing that, you can't take advantage of the automation. It's hard because okay, so let me just take one thing. So if you had to, let's say that somebody stopped subscribing to your learning center and you then had to move that person into another list, you can't do that with Aweber automation, right? The only way you could do that is with tags. And so it doesn't really work if, and the only way it works is if you untag that person, but they stay on that list and they would still have the tag for your main list, right? So that's not going to. Could you set it up as an action? Yes, you could, but it gets mercilessly complicated. Now, here's what I'll say about that. If you understand it that way, then do it, right? So please don't you know don't say, well, Charles told me I need to start using tags, and then you get yourself, you know, all jammed up because of something I told you. If you understand it using separate lists and tags, separate lists and actions, then do that, right? But they're setting up tags so you can have one list and tag everybody for every little thing. Now, one of the problems right now is this, and one of the problems that is that everything has to work right. So, for example, Warrior Plus, when a Warrior Plus buyer, when somebody buys something in Warrior Plus, what should happen is that if somebody is already on my list, the only thing that should change should be the new tag. But what happens is Warrior Plus doesn't add the tag to somebody who's already on my list. That's what should happen, but but it doesn't happen. So in this case, it doesn't work, right? It should work that way, but for whatever reason, Warrior Plus doesn't work. So I can't do it with that. And so one of the things I've got to do as a workaround is I'm actually sending a receipt email from GetResponse, right? And that's one of the reasons why I do that. But yeah, so the desired effect is for you to use one list, but if you don't understand, if you understand it by doing different lists, then I think you got to do that. Okay, so Michelle's question is, wouldn't it look weird to have one name for different brands? Well, if you have multiple brands, then yes, right? So for me, I have different products. So for every product and every upsell, I was putting people on a different list. And so they got a different name. Now, if you're talking about different brands, yes, those should be separate lists. Right. If that's what you're talking about, those have to be separate, I think, Michelle. So I think if I'm hearing you right, you've got to have those on different lists if they're different brands altogether. But if you're talking about the same product or for the same brand, or I'm sorry, different products, same brand, I think you can benefit from using tags. But again, there's a learning curve to doing that. Yeah. But different brands, different lists, right? Different brands, different lists. Different products, same brand. I think you could benefit from learning the tags, right? And I will try to go through what that means to have one list. I need to see what Jim did and make sure I don't overlap. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, so Michelle's question is, can Aweber tag based on the purchase? Yes. So that is when you would use it. And actually, Warrior Plus does tag people. The most shopping carts will add the tag to an existing a person who's already on your list. What you want to have happen is when they buy a new product, you want the tag to be added, right? That's what you want. You want that person to have a new tag, even if they have a bunch of existing tags that are already on your list. Right now, some shopping carts, it works. Warrior Plus, as of right now, it does not. Right now, I haven't talked to them. I haven't had time to tell them in their support and all that stuff. And maybe I should. I should reach out to them and tell them that. But that's ideally what should happen. So that when somebody buys, what gets added to them is the tag. Right? Yeah. Okay. So the product name. Okay, you can name the tag anything you want to. So for example, Michelle, for Strategic Marketing Playbook, my tag was SMP number 2. Right? So everybody, but the problem was with Warrior Plus was that the only people that got added with that new tag were people who were new to the list. What should have happened is even the existing people who were already on my list, who bought Strategic Marketing Playbook, they should have also got the tag, but it didn't happen with Warrior Plus, right? That's what should happen. Now, it does happen with that's what's supposed to happen, because then that would then help you to, it's an error. Yes, it is. I need to talk to them about it. I haven't had time, right? Maybe they know it, maybe they don't, and they might just tell me, excuse me, they might just tell me, you know, that it's supposed to be that way. I have no idea what they're going to tell me. But yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. So in that case, see, you would then be better off if you would use Warrior Plus to have them on separate lists, right? Because I guess technically, who sets it? You set it up, right? So you have to set up the tag. You have to set up the automation. Michelle's question is, who sets that up? You have to set up the tag and automation, right? So you designate the tags, and you have to put it inside of your shopping cart, and you have to tell your shopping cart that the tag gets added. So the tag goes, the tag, you get your shopping cart to send them to your one list, but you put a little place in there where, let me see if I can show you. I'll try to show you without getting too crazy here. See if I can. I'll see if I can show you. I'll go inside of a product screen. Let's see, products and new products. Okay, so, and this is just Warrior Plus, right? Okay, so when you set up an autoresponder inside of Warrior Plus, you go new connection, and then you add them to whatever autoresponder you're going to add them to, right? So let's say I was going to add them to Aweber, right? And then I would pick the list, right? So this is a shopping cart. Now you see this? What should happen, this is where the tag is supposed to go. Right now I should be able to put in this tag, have the person added to my list, and if that person is already on my list, it should add the tag. But what's happening is it's not adding the person and the tag. It's saying, Aweber is saying to Warrior Plus, this person is already on Charles's list. We're not going to do anything with it, right? When what I want to happen is, I want Aweber to say to Warrior Plus, this person is already on Charles's list, but you've got a new tag there, so I'll add the tag to that person who's already on my list. Yes, you set up the tag first in Aweber. So Michelle's question is, do you set up the tag in Aweber? Yes, you set up the tag first in Aweber. Yep, that's right. Yep. Now, maybe, I think somebody mentioned Active Campaign. Maybe Active Campaign works, right? So I think Warrior Plus sets up with Active Campaign, right? So that's one of the autoresponders. I could try that one, right? So these are all the autoresponders. So maybe it does work with that one. But I mean, I'm not changing Aweber after I've been using it since 2011. So I just work around it. And actually, Michelle, if you're not using Warrior Plus, then it should be fine, right? As long as you're not using Warrior Plus, you should be fine. Yeah, I am going to talk to them, Michelle. I will talk to them. Right. So Jim's saying that one thing you can do is manually bulk add tags, and he's right about that. Um, and that is, um, I'd rather not do it that way. But yeah, if push came to shove, I could then bulk add a tag to every new buyer. Right. I could do that based on a CSV with the buyers. That's correct. Right? You can always bulk add tags. So that's another thing you can do in Aweber. You can actually do that in Get Response too. So yeah, so Michelle's question is you would do that after they came in. Yeah, so you'd probably wait until the end of the launch, and then you go back and you'd bulk add them. And so it's less than optimal if you have people who are buying from you, let's say year long. You still got to kind of go back to that product, and then you've got to kind of redo them again, right? So, but that's a workaround. So that's a good workaround. Yep, that Jim mentioned. Right. So Michelle's question is, should we use automation as much as possible? Yeah. So yeah, and yeah, because if you can, right? So my situation with Warrior Plus, if they don't change it, requires a workaround of some kind. So, and I don't know if there's an automated workaround for me. Now, as I said, as long as you're not using this particular shopping cart, which is Warrior Plus, then you should be fine. But you do want to test it. And I guess that is really the moral of the story is test the process to see if it works with another autoresponder, right? So if you get a trial, you may want to test it to make sure that tag gets added to a person that's already on your one list. All right. Okay. Yep. Thank you very much, Jim. Talk to you soon. Okay, everybody. Well, this has been a good time we had here today. I appreciate you all being here. Let's see. One person was asking about Ultimate Insider. You can get that you can go there at, let me see. .com/support. Yeah, so somebody was asking me about Michelle's asking about Vimeo. Um, yeah, I'm in some kind of program of theirs. If that's what you're asking about is the program, it's interesting. I mean, it's in a Slack group. um, and man, I can't bother with that stuff. So um, I have to read all these messages, and I I don't have, I don't have time for it. So I will get into it, but maybe. uh, okay. See, someone asked about Ultimate Insider, and you can get that at plrshow.com/insider training, right? And that's now in the box there. Okay, everybody. Well, I thank you very much. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me here, and it's been a lot of fun. Look forward to seeing y'all next week. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.